This is the closing report for Liverpool Cardano Philosophy Hub, which is a project brought to you by QA Liverpool Cardano Philosophy Hub was a Fund 8 project about engaging people with blockchain technology via the possibly slightly innovative lens of community philosophy. So let's start off with a quick look at the basic project details. The name of the proposal was Liverpool Cardano Philosophy Hub, and there's its idea scale link and its project ID number. The budget was $18,600, and the challenge it was in was scale up Cardano's community hubs in Fund 8. The dates it ran were May 2022 to December 2023, and the proposers were Vanessa Cardui, that's me, and Stephen Wittenstall from QA DAO. Now let's have a look at the challenge KPIs and how we address them. Okay, so the Fund 8 Community Hubs Challenge had two main aims. The first one was delivering information to people who would not have otherwise had access to it. And the second was ensuring resilience and self-reliance within that community. So on the question of access, we delivered information via a community philosophy organisation called PIPS based in Liverpool in England. They have several groups across Liverpool and indeed across the country, and an online group, which is the one we mainly worked with. And we also engaged with students from Liverpool University and Salford University who also attended some sessions. The participants almost certainly would not have come across information about Cardano without this project. It's not to say that the information was not out there and wasn't available to them. It was. It's just that they probably wouldn't have ever stumbled across it. And any information that they did stumble on would very likely not have been framed around philosophy or around the philosophical issues that blockchain raises. So it might not have been as engaging for them as people who were interested in philosophy. On the question of resilience, participants were already pretty self-reliant. The core group's been going for a long time, and they're already very comfortable with researching and discussing ideas. And this was demonstrated by the way that the group stepped up to research and deliver some of the sessions themselves. But their resilience was increased by the project and by feeling better informed about blockchain by the end of the project. Participants did mention that there's a lot of confusing information out there on blockchain related topics, so to have a more solid understanding of the issues was helpful. Now let's have a glance at our project aims and how we address them. So our main aims were, first of all, to run learning sessions exploring the philosophy behind blockchain. Secondly, to encourage cross-community interaction between project participants and Catalyst. Next, to collate resources on the themes that we were discussing in the sessions, so stuff like reading lists, talking points that emerged in sessions, and so on. And lastly, to invite the group to help us to update our Ekphrasis Gitbook, which is a collection of resources on philosophical themes relevant to Cardano. And yeah, we invited them to update Ekphrasis with philosophical material that emerged from their sessions. So starting off with the aim of running learning sessions, we ran an opening session exploring the philosophy behind the core blockchain concept of decentralization. You can see the slideshow for it and the core discussion points on the Ekphrasis Gitbook. After this, some of the sessions were then led by us, and others were researched and led by the group members themselves, who were really keen to research stuff and run sessions. One key approach that we took that worked really well was to look at blockchain as a disruptive technology. We took elements of blockchain theory and explored whether and how far they overturn traditional philosophical thinking. So, for example, we looked at DIDs, decentralized identity, and looked at how it relates to traditional philosophical concepts of identity and the self. We also looked at what you might call money ontology and questioned whether crypto and DeFi actually revoke traditional philosophical ideas of what money means. And then we also looked at NFTs and asked whether they overturn traditional concepts of aesthetics. Next, the question of cross-community interaction between the PIPS community and Catalyst. The original intention was for participants to lead some after town hall sessions to share the insights that were emerging from their sessions with the Catalyst community. But participants watched recordings of town halls and they actually were not that keen to take part. Perhaps the two groups were simply too different and the culture just clashed too much. So instead, in order to seed ideas between the two communities as we planned, we collated material from the sessions on our Ekphrasis Git book, so the Catalyst community can use them whenever they want and they're there and available. And we drew on current discussions in Catalyst in how we framed some of our sessions. For example, we ran a session on reputation and contribution systems, which was very much prompted by discussions that were going on in Catalyst at the time. Next, let's have a look at the question of collecting resources. During the sessions, especially the ones that the group researched and ran themselves, people shared lots of suggestions for further reading, and we've collected them on the Ekphrasis Git book, and you can see that link in the description. And finally, the question of maintaining the Ekphrasis Git book. 3 of the core participants collaborated on researching articles and papers related to blockchain and crypto from a philosophical perspective. They found a really diverse range of material, which is super interesting, so I'd encourage people to have a look at that on Ekphrasis. And again, the link is in the description. So now let's look at some of our key achievements as a project. First of all, engaging participants with learning about blockchain technology and about core issues in Cardano. Also, the group researching and creating some sessions themselves. We were really impressed with the extent to which the group stepped up to do this. Also, developing some thinking around the philosophical issues that underpin blockchain technology. Up until this project, the Ekphrasis Git book that QA runs contain mainly either published sources or material that we'd created ourselves. So it was great to get some thinking from an external group and be able to include that. Next, establishing links with several student groups and seeing them attend sessions as well was a good achievement. And building an ongoing link with the core group and seeding discussions about new technologies, which have actually continued even after the end of our sessions. And helping participants to feel more comfortable in discussions around crypto because they understand it better was a pretty important achievement. Now let's have a look at some of the key learnings from the project. We and the group both learnt from each other's methodologies. As facilitators, one of the things that we really learnt was that it's much more effective not to overload sessions with too much information and to kind of trust the process and leave space for the participants' insights. This is very much the approach that the group uses in their own sessions, and we learnt a lot from it. They tend to just have a short kind of introductory stimulus and then allow discussion to develop. We also learned that fewer in-meeting tools and having instead a focus on conversational interaction can be really effective to help participants to take the lead in a discussion. The sessions where we use tools such as slides and Miro, and even just in-meeting chat, all the things that we take for granted in Project Catalyst, actually tended to feel more top-down. And it was when we dropped those and focused instead on conversational interactions, that was when the participants began to take a bit of a lead. Lastly, we noted that the core philosophical issues for participants around blockchain were ethics related. These were the things that emerged as the core of the discussions, both practical ethical issues and kind of meta ethics around blockchain technology and new technologies in general. Interestingly, the group were perhaps even more interested in the ethics of AI than they were around the ethics of crypto. That's perhaps because, like everyone else, they're already using AI in their daily lives, so the ethical issues felt more pressing. And we kind of responded to this interest by scheduling one session, which was led by a group member about AI. And now let's wrap up with some next steps for the project. PIPS, or Philosophy in Pubs, holds its biannual conference in June 2024 in Liverpool for members across the UK. And we plan to present a discussion topic on the philosophy of blockchain. We want to revisit a key issue from one of the most lively sessions that we held in this project, which was about whether blockchain truly is a disruptive technology or whether it's actually fundamentally reactionary. So we're looking forward to that. And that's about all we have to share. So thank you very much for watching.